Hello, Namaste. I welcome you all to the 69th session of GURUBODHA. I dedicate this and all of my works at the holy feet of Dr. A. Chandrasekhar Udupa. This class is made live exclusively for weekly class subscribers. And coming to the topics for today, first one is regarding the bitter gourd. A common vegetable bitter for bitter is bitter gourd. Is there any use of this vegetable as medicine, or is it just acts as a dietary ingredient only? And or can it be used as a medicine for say pitta disorders, because bitter tasting medicines are commonly used in pitta.
It is a serious herb, it's a vegetable, and it can be used in any of the preparations. But classically, we don't find much of the formulations containing this. Very rarely we may find one or the other ways, but in most of the times, when the Karavelaka, which is being told, is much in the form of a material which is used as a vegetable source rather than a medicament or a medicine source. So it can be taken as a medicinal herb, which having a potential to act as a medicine, but it is largely a vegetable. But it is a pitta balancing, no doubt, because of its bitter taste or the Rasa. But at the same time, in large quantities, it is going to increase the pitta because of its ushnata. It is also having ushna guna in it. So it is not an ideal herb to reduce the pitta. Any drug which is ideal to reduce pitta should be shita in guna, tikta or the bitter in taste, and kashaya in taste, that is astringent in nature. Then it will be very good. And its vipaka also, if it is tikta, then it is good. But here it is having ushna guna, that's why it is not considered as so cooling or pacifying the pitta.
Yes, sir. And I see this Karela juice, Karela veg capsules in the market, Karela metabolic wellness is there. Do you see any condition in which you would pick that, or you would use that as just a dietary instruction for certain diseases only?
Usually, I will use this for the culinary preparation or dietary preparation. But now, presently, for many of them, taking Karela as it is very difficult for them. They go for all sort of these type of capsule, tablet, and juice and all those things. That is a modification what they can get it in the market. But as far as possible, if they try to eat Karela fresh, that will be more beneficial and more good to their body, because whatever the tablet, capsule or juice, whatever they make it, they are forced to put some preservatives in order to keep its shelf life. So that is not in a long run, may not be a good. So, but it's a Karela can be very easily found and it can be consumed as a fresh one. Better to go for the freshly available one. No need to go for these preparations. Only when you are not having the scope or opportunity to get the things in a particular season, in a period in a year, then you may not be getting the fresh Karela. Then you can go for the alternative things. The better thing is fresh one. And it is used as a vegetable rather than a medicine. Its medicinal activity is, even though it is there, but it is more towards a food type of material.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to the next question. Is adding cardamom to coffee enough to balance the bitter and astringent taste so that it does not decrease Agni and increase Vata dosha? But coffee as such itself is slightly hot in nature, so it does not decrease Agni.
Coffee won't decrease Agni. It is itself is a Pitta Vardaka and it is Agni Vardaka. And cardamom is added to improve its flavor, and just adding a few cardamom to such a strong pitta increasing or ushna dravya doesn't make the things coolant. Moreover, cardamom vipaka, Veerya is also not no, everyone thought that it will be shita. No, it is not shita. It is Ushna in nature.
Next question is on Dhumapana with honey. The question comes from many different perspectives. One is that there is this herbal smoking, that is the Dhumapana as a therapy, and there is this Dhupana, also called as fumigation. And if you consider modern fumigation in today's day and age, almost many these Dhupan agarbatti manufacturers, incense stick manufacturers, they add considerable amount of honey while preparing the incense stick. Honey is added. That too, they want like pure form of honey, and if the honey quality is not good, then overall the product flavor will not be good, and all those things are also there. And in Ayurveda, so the question that has come is heating honey and inhaling vapors safe, given that heating of honey is told as visha, and it is taken when it is taken orally. And to support that, this Acharya Charaka gives this context in Charaka Samhita Kalpasana Madana Kalpa chapter. In that he says that Sarveshu Madhusandavam Kafa Vilena Chedarte Vamaneshu Vidadya. But he goes on to say that because it is emetic procedure going on here, and because it is used for vamana, so even heat processing of honey is not contraindicated, because any which ways the vamana dravya, the medicines that are given for vamana, and also the all the doshas in the body are gotten rid by the by the vamana procedure. So anyways, honey is not getting digested or absorbed. So heating of honey in this case is good. Guru sir, any thoughts on these, please?
Very clearly, whenever we say it is Visha, that when it goes in and gets digested and get assimilated to the body, in that context, if honey is heated and taken, then it is going to act as Visha. We are taking honey in some conditions wherein within few minutes that the entire content of the gastrum will be thrown out, just like in Vamana Prayogas, the medicated emitting, the techniques. So where if you are adding honey, it doesn't make any sense or it doesn't cause any drawback. So here very clear, honey heated and consumed, which stays back inside the body and gets digested further and get assimilated, such honey is going to cause or act as visha. That needs to be avoided. Whereas the honey is heated in the process of medicaments, which is used for the purpose of emission or vomiting. So in that condition, it doesn't stay there in the body for a long time and it won't even get digested, and along with the other doshas, it also goes out of the body, then there is no harm in it. And getting a fumigation of these things, once again, the fumigation, it goes everywhere and to the room for the purpose of fumigation. We don't inhale it directly, only a small quantity is inhaled, and that too will not be in a, going to be cause any problem, as it is a visha in nature. No, it is not visha. Only when it is heated and consumed, then it is visha. If it is totally burnt and it turned into fumes, we don't know any reference about that. So it is entirely different context altogether. We should not understand in that sense.
Also, sir, I from my point of understanding, the whatever the wrong food combinations that are explained, viruddhahara, that are largely for the oral route when it is taken then, and not much to the, say, nasal route, etc.
Now, usually ahara is taken through the mouth. It's oral route. When we say viruddha ahara, so no question of consuming through the nose. Here it is through the ahara and through the mouth only. So viruddha ahara means where we are taking something as ahara, which by virtue of its combinations has a incompatible combination. That we needs to understand. So here viruddhahara means something which is taken through the oral route and which possesses opposite qualities, and it is going to harm the condition or harm the body. So that's a need we need to understand.
Yes, sir. And just I was searching whether there was any like of dhumapana or dhupana medicines. One reference that I got was fumigation mentioned by Acharya Sushruta. He says Ajavyosh Charma Romani Vacha Kustam Palankasha Nimbapatram Aduyutam Dhuparam Tasya Dapayet. So the body hairs of goat, so goat's skin hair, sheep, Vacha Kusta, Gugulu, neem mixed with honey is used for fumigation or dhumapana, fumigation therapy, or dhupana for fever. Probably it has some. Yeah, honey is very well known for this antibacterial effect, and especially that's why it is frequently used in even infested wounds, or for quickening the wound healing. Probably its fumes are also helpful in, say, fumigating and detoxifying the air, getting rid of airborne viruses and bacteria.
It is difficult to conclude that because it has an antibiotic type of nature or antiviral in nature, something like that. But we don't know when this combination has been put into fire and the fumes are coming out, and whether they are going to carry the content of madhu in such a way or it is going to help in that way. That is very difficult, and it is a very wide subject, needs research and all those things and on those parts. If you observe the other content in the Dupana, what Acharya Shushruta has mentioned, most of them are either it is the hair or it is the skin or even the important bitter principle drug which emits that bitterness. Such type of things are taken and it is put into and very pungent in nature or sharp in nature or tikshna in nature. And if you observe that when the hair or nails or something like it is burnt, it emits a very typical smell. So all these things probably made to clear the atmosphere. Maybe a Rakshogna type of dhuma it is done where a patient of particularly a fever patient may be residing, or the ward of the fever patient may be fumigated with that during those days. So that may be the reason for that.
If we want to use vegetable juices like carrot juice, white pumpkin, I assume it is ashgard juice. What is the best time to take?
Definitely, when you are consuming this as a food, we need to consume them when we are hungry. It should be when we are hungry at that time we need to consume this. And we are consuming in the form of juice, means it is straight away cold pressed and extracted the content, or it is boiled then compressed and to get the juices, or any special preparation or method have been adopted to produce the things. It's very difficult to explain, but whatever the method you adopted, ultimately our intention of using carrot juice or a pumpkin, a white pumpkin or that ashgard juice, it is for the purpose of improving our one's immunity and energy source management. So when we think in that line, it is better to take when we are hungry. That will be most suitable time where these things can be easily digested and get absorbed into the body.
And also, I would assume because carrot and pumpkin as such is not so hard on agni, or it would not cause any stomach irritation per se, even as first part of diet also, or if someone is taking it as a supplement to treat some disease, it can be taken before food also. There should not be any restrictions, sir.
It can be taken before food, there will be no restriction. But thing is that any food can become a guru ahara by virtue of its rashi, that is a quantum. So even though a drug which is said to be as lagu in nature, and if you increase its volume by consuming a lot, then also that lagu dravya can also cause a dietary abnormality, or it may become a guru on agni and cause ama. So it is not only just by virtue or nature of the drug, but it also the quantity which makes the things worsen. So we need to be cautious on those two things. A drug should be having a particular qualities like agni vardhana in nature, and drug should be sufficiently in the form of lagutva in it, but we also need to stick on to that concept that we should not give the total quantum exceed one's agni capacity. So that thing we need to understand.
This is slightly dangerous trend, I would say, that because Karela capsule, this one, etc., are marketed and advertised. Patients and even some, I saw some supplement of Karela saying that Karela diabetic wellness dietary supplement. So it is told as like dietary supplement, and if patients ask for it, and if the so suppose a patient of patient with say type 2 diabetes is taking say one or two ayurvedic medicines for his diabetes control, and he takes Karela capsule by himself, then it can lead to hypoglycemia and it can be a little dangerous.
It is a very difficult to say that it may cause hypoglycemia or not. But thing is very clear, when you are considering Karela extracts capsules, you are already taking some medication to control the blood sugars and manage the diabetes. To that, if you are adding up by just observing some ads on the social media or some the print media and taking this as by your own self, then that may influence already taking medication, and always this self medication is dangerous. Better to consult a doctor to understand what is your exact dosage requirement for your condition based on your lakshanas or your symptoms and including the blood sugar levels and even HbA1c or something like that. Then we can decide upon what should be given for how much quantity, all those things, and that needs to be taken under medical supervision. It should not be just simply taken as it is by yourself. That is point number one. Sometimes even this Karela extracts, it is not just like any other the allopathic or the Western chemical medicines. It doesn't just straight away cause hypoglycemia in a patient. It is not so strong enough to cause it. So that may send on a regular consumption, maybe a few days continuously if it is taken, then there is a possibility because of the already you are taking some other medicines which are reducing the sugar levels. So along with that, it may be an added advantage, may become a disadvantage later on. So to be on safer side, it is better to consult your doctor and analyze what best you can take it. And marketing of these Karela extracts in the form of capsule and all those things, it is nowadays entirely based on the content writer and his capacity to write the things, what the words he selects and what is the punchline he gives, that is eye catchy. So that is the one which is causing all these things, and people will be just going behind that and they'll be using it. Of course, indirectly we get data on that also. That also gives serves as a very easy source of analyzing the effect of those drugs. But anyway, but it should be taken with due consideration to your body nature, and of course under the medical supervision. That will be best one.
And also, I mean, extract can mean many different things. It can be simple powder, can also be called sometimes as dry extract, or it can be like very very highly sophisticated kind of extraction process where only few phytochemicals are drawn from the concerned vegetable or an ingredient. So it becomes, like you said, it becomes very difficult for us to assign an effect. So simply let's consider simply the Karela juice, and let's consider, say, all the major medicines for diabetes. So we have Gymnema or Meshashrangi, then we have, say, Asana, Saptarangi, Jamun, seeds, and let's say Guruchi, Kirata Pitta, Gokshura, all those things. And these are all, say, in the higher range, or very efficacious things. And there is this humble Nisha Malaki Churna, or simply let's say Trifala and Amalaki. So we have this, say, on the lower range. If you consider, where would this Karela fruit as such would fit?
No, it is very difficult to consider in this fashion because Maheshwarangi or Asana or Saptarangi, Jambu, Guduchi, Kiratta, all these things fall under the category of Aushadha, whereas the Karela, even though it is Aushadha, but use it largely as a food. So any medicine we cannot consume maximum, we cannot consume to a certain level. We cannot consume more than the things. So, but Karela is not like that. Karela will make a vegetable, we will make some sabjis out of that and preparations, and we eat a lot comparatively. So it falls under the category of either a food having a medicinal property, which can be broadly nowadays what we call as a nutraceutical type of thing, that can be understood in this sense. So it can be kept below all these things because Meshashingi, Asana, and Saptarangi, Jambu, Guduchi, Kiratikta, they are comparatively much stronger and better drugs for the diabetes or the Madhumeha when compared to Karela. So Karela can be as a in the part of food supplementation or under the category of food that can be used. Even methi seeds are also used in this. That methi seeds are trigonella vinum glycum is also used in that condition. Fenugreek, that's also one of the commonly used material nowadays.
Next, there's a question on like, is there a view, traditional view on fasting for multiple days continuously? If so, can you talk about this fasting as a method of Langana is explained, and Langana means lightening therapy, which makes the body light, say lose weight, and also useful in modern lifestyle disorders. That is explained, but we need to be cautious about excessive fasting also.
Yes, definitely we need to be cautious on that. See, we have got a very clear, balanced method of doing Langana. That's the reason our traditional method of living, they very clearly said on every Ekadashi they used to have a fasting. So because of that reason, even on many rituals in Hindu mythology and in the Sanatan Dharma, there are a lot of things that on particular days there will be langana, that is fasting. It may be to not only cleanse the body but also to clean up our mind. It gives a lot of input or the strength to the mind and body that I have done fasting today and pleased my gods and I have done my part of the job. So many things. It's very common nowadays. Fasting for Ganesha, fasting for Lord Shiva, and fasting on that particular occasion. So that is the one part of fasting. Then otherwise the periodical fasting is very clearly established. One was Ekadashi Upavasa. That's very clear in our many of the family customs. So that we need to understand that on every 11th day in a cycle, we will go for the Ekadashi, that is clear cut. We call it as a holiday for any food intake. That is the thing. So that itself is very clear. But whereas in classical Langana therapy also, Acharya is very clearly mentioned about Langana. In that Upavasa is also mentioned. But there was no such thing called as in only this number of days it should be done. No such thing. Their interest was achieve the target. If you achieve the target in 3 days, that is enough. 2 days enough, or 1 day enough. So where you will going to achieve? Accordingly, it is better. Otherwise, very clearly, you may land up in trouble when you go on more number of days without any observing for the vital parameters. So all these need to be taken care.
And there is also a reference saying that digestive fire or Agni, it digests food. And in the absence of food, it digests doshas. In the absence of doshas, it digests tissues. Not ideal. In the absence of tissues, it digests prana or life element, and it takes away life. So therefore, it's extremely very important to have food regularly. But fasting, like you explained, for a day probably is good, but continuously, like the questionnaire has clear, is not so very good. Moving on to the next, in the Dravaguna, Rasaguna, Vipaka, Veerya, and Prabhava, is it Vipaka that ultimately defines an overall effect on the body, or is it a combination of all three, Rasa, Veerya, Vipaka? If Veerya is heating and Vipaka is cooling, say let's say Madhura, as in case of Pipli, or vice versa, what is the effect then?
Very clearly, it has been mentioned when all these Rasaguna Veerya Vipakas are of equal strength, then which one will overtake the other one? Very clearly, it is said when Rasa, Vipaka, Veerya are of different strength, then the different, whichever is stronger, they will take the lead. Similarly, Vipaka is the one which is comparatively kept over the Veerya. It can suppress the Veerya and produce its effect. So that's the reason if Vipaka is having, for example, in case of Pippali, it is having Ushna Guna, Ushna Veerya, but its Vipaka is Madhura. So here the Madhura Vipaka suppresses the Ushna Guna and produces the Vriksha Karma. So like that even in Shunti. So like that there are things. So Vipaka overrules the Veerya and as well as Rasa. So we need to understand this.
This experience, a person was experiencing pronounced symptoms of productive cough, lot of yellow phlegm expelled and heaviness in the head. Intake of sun-dried nimbu, Indian lime, peel seemed to help reduce the symptoms. Is it any bitter rasa dravya which would produce this effect, or anything specific to lime peel? What qualities are acting in here?
Very clear. The condition is kapha vriddhi lakshanas are there. So kapha is more, and of course there is some sort of infection maybe. So we can take it as a condition where both pitta and kapha is increased. So here an Indian line, that is nimbu peel. It is maybe processed or something like that as it is. But this nimbu peel usually have bitter taste as well as some astringent amlarasa. So this bitter is controlling the pitta, and astringent and sorry, not amla sour taste is controlling the kapha. So thereby it suppresses both pitta and kapha. So maybe because of this reason, lemon peel with in its bitterness as well as its soreness may be reducing both the doshas, thereby giving relief to the condition.
I just wanted to know, for such a person, what other things can they do in terms of home remedies?
What is exactly that yellow color phlegm or something like that? For this, you could have used tulsi if it is available, tulsi decoction or tulsi tea, a chai, or even you can go for the trikatu if it is available. You can go for even cinnamon chai.
So, any of these aromatic compounds, basically.
Yeah, it should be in that sense, which is aromatic as well as penetrating in nature, and katu in rasa, that is, it is pungent in nature, that is going to reduce that pitta, I mean, sorry, kapha.
I was saying that our talisadi churna and sitopaladi churna contains a wide variety of spices. Any combination therein would be lot useful. And moving on, lately ashwagandha is available at most grocery stores and health stores in the US. I see people using ashwagandha powder as energy drink mix and add it to their kids' breakfast smoothies. Can you please advise if this practice is okay or any repercussions? Or also, I mean, just to add, at what dose is ashwagandha say for children if at all they are taking it on a daily basis?
First of all, I would like to say that whatever the medication it is, don't consume just because of its content which is written on the advertisement or whatever it is. Consult your doctor. Let him analyze you whether you are suitable for this. Point number one. Then ashwagandha, we know that it is widely available. Everybody is going behind that and everybody is consuming it, and it has got a lot of beneficial effect, no doubt. But at the same time, ashwagandha is also ushna in nature. Ashwagandha is one of the things which stimulates even the testosterone. When you are giving to a child continuously, then there may be precocious puberty. We also know should be very cautious about this. All these needs to be under the medical supervision only. If it is done, that will be good. So, what may be the dosage? Yes, this can be taken for a short duration, maybe like 2 months, 1 month, or something like that, and needs to be given break here and there. We need to continuously consume maybe for 1 month, then give a gap of 15 days or 20 days, then once again you can start. This type of things may not be going to cause any untoward effects very easily. So for children, it is better if it is really necessary and the children is malnourished, undernutrition, or is having any issues, then only you can use ashwagandha. Otherwise, for a children, no need to go for ashwagandha. For the purpose of rasayana, if you are interested, then you can go for kushmanda rather than that. That will be beneficial for the children.
And yeah, I mean, there is this, I mean, even with the Ayurvedic community that is getting built up, I see many times that, just yesterday I received an email from a patient. They generalize these Ayurvedic herbs or compare it with like modern ones. So this is just like copy paste of one of the sentences that an Ayurveda practitioner told to a patient. And also like amla, this is from the same email. Too much vitamin C can increase acidity Neem Ganavati is an antibiotic, and it may make the body not respond to antibiotics later, etc. And turmeric and curcumin is another common thing we get, and we need not fit Ayurvedic herbs into the modern pharmacological term baskets.
We need to understand certain things here. Here, neem Ganavati. We need to understand what exactly the method he has used to prepare this Ganavati. Whether the neem bark is taken and kashaya is prepared and it is evaporated to dryness and to made Ganavati, then it is officially the classical method of doing it. Such neem Ganavati definitely helps to improve the body mechanism. It stimulates our immune system to act against the any foreign pathogen. Of course, that's good. But claiming that if you consume neem Ganavati, then your body won't respond to antibiotics later, I don't think so. That is not right kind of thing. It won't be like that. Then amla, too much vitamin C increases acidity. No, so it's not that. Amla, even though it is having amla pradhana pancharasa, but it is predominantly its vipaka is madura. It is going to give you a good sufficiently. The thing is, it will not going to increase your acidity. And even we have got amalaki churna, amalaki rasayana. We give it in case of where there is acidity to overcome that. So it is entirely different methodology and different perspective it acts. It not only that simply one rasa will going directly going to act, and it is only the vipaka it's acting. There are multiple things that are involved in that. A drug is a pharmacological activity. And similarly, the turmeric and curcumin. Curcumin is not turmeric. Curcumin is a part of turmeric. So when we talk about the turmeric, it's a turmeric drug as a whole. So it should be directly the entire rhizome of turmeric should be powdered and taken as a capsule. Then we talk about the turmeric. And the beneficial effect, what acharyas have explained in our classical text regarding the turmeric or maybe amla for nimba or neem, everything holds good only when it is taken drug as a whole. It is not by those extracting things, and those extraction are not equivalent to the drug as a whole. And don't expect that all the karmas explained or the effect explained in the classical text regarding particular drugs may not holds good in case of this extraction or only some phytochemical being taken out of the things like curcumin taken out of turmeric and saying it is a haridra. No, it is not haridra. It is curcumin, just curcumin. It may be a potent, one of the important ingredient or phytochemical from the turmeric, but it is not the whole turmeric as it is. It has got its own other things present in that turmeric. So not only curcumin.
There's question on like, can we mix ashgard with carrot?
What in terms of ashgard juice and carrot juice?
Yes, sir.
Juice, ashgard juice. And so then the question arises is, how you are preparing the ashgard juice and the carrot juice? It is only raw juice, or it is after boiling, then you are crushing it out through a mixer, the mixer.
Cutting the vegetables and grinding together and filtering it.
It is a raw then. It is a totally raw. It is totally raw. There is no Agni Sani Karsha. There is no question of any fire coming in contact with these things. So it's a raw juice. So in raw juice, both ashgard as well as carrot can be mixed because both of them are Madhur Rasa Pradhana Dravyas. No, I don't think so. It may not be going to cause any harm in it. You can consume it.
Sir, especially for Kushmanda, a lot of people consume it fresh for weight loss, the ashgard. And if it is used when in Ayurvedic sense, when we boil and consume, it's heavier and it's, also the fresh juice is also has some snigdha guna, it's heavy too. But it's considered the raw juice is used for weight loss. A lot of naturopathic doctors suggest that. But in our Ayurvedic texts and all, this is also used as rasayana too. So can you please explain the difference?
Kushmanda is rasayana. It should be used in that sense, how it is explained in Ayurvedic classical texts. But Kushmanda raw juice will not going to reduce the body weight. They are in a misconception. Otherwise, it is boiled, then is crushed and filtered. So that Kushmanda Swarasa is to be taken. But whereas Kushmanda raw juice, if you consume, it will clear kapha to some extent. There may be a slight variation or reduction in body weight, but doesn't straight away. It is a drug of choice to reduce our body weight. It is not that kind of medicine or even a vegetable.
And also, it has some amount of fiber. Probably this modern dietitians for that, because also coolant, so keeps the agni low so that the patient doesn't, especially the rajas, if it's consumed, patient can withstand hunger for a longer period of time. What is the best diet and Ayurvedic course of treatment for an elderly person with pulmonary hypertension and persistent edema? This is to be prevalent among retired elders in the US. Just to give a bit of a context and a little bit of explanation here, this pulmonary edema is, pulmonary hypertension is high blood pressure with arteries in the lungs and the heart specifically having high blood pressure. It affects the heart arteries of the lung and right part of the heart, with shortness of breath, dizziness, pressure on the chest, heaviness of the chest, and it worsens over the time. And modern treatment involves blood vessel dilators, also called vasodilators, medications which increase the internal lumen of the blood vessels, and also edema is common. So water pills, also called diuretics are given. Digoxin is also given. Blood thinners are also given. Gururaja sir, your thoughts on this, please?
My suggestion for these type of patient is a combination of Amla powder, Shatavari powder, Kokshura powder, and Punarnava powder. So combination of these four will definitely help. And these powders, if they are triturated in Nimbus Varasa, that is lemon juice, and dried, then filled into capsules or something like that, or made into tablets. And if you are using them, this is going to help out by removing the pressure, excessive pressure from the pulmonary vessels, as well as it reduces the edema in the pulmonary area, and also nourishes, and it acts as a rasayana, supports the condition, and it also helps to remove the excess water in the form of increased urine output. So that will be beneficial for these conditions.
One interesting thing that I observed in this combination is like all are used generally as rasayana. So, and this appears to be a nagging phenomena, or a disease especially in the elders, and the symptoms keep on worsening over a period of time. So the person requires medicine for a longer period of time, and using these rasayana herbs makes much sense. Thank you there. And doctor, if someone had a stomach surgery and major part of the stomach is removed, now he is not able to absorb iron. Is there any herb that can help? Will Ayurvedic formulations for iron like Loha Sava be good? Here, this vitamin D is required if the iron that is consumed is in ferric form, not vitamin D. So this vitamin B12 is required. Vitamin C is required in the stomach to convert the ferric form of iron into ferrous form. And this is as per like modern science. And this ferrous form is absorbed readily. And in patients with called as gastrojejunectomy, or GJ laparotomy is also another this one, wherein they will have because the major part of the stomach is taken out, or ectomy is done, they'll be lacking something called as intrinsic factor, which is not produced by the stomach, which is useful in absorption of vitamins, mainly the vitamin B12. And thereby it can pose a problem as such. But if it is ferrous form of iron, there should not be a problem in absorption of iron despite having this one. For example, iron supplementation still helps in such a patient to recover if at all he has anemia for different reasons. Gururaja sir, please.
I would like to know whether the condition is maybe patient of DA or something like that, where the surgery was done, or whether it is for the bariatric surgery which is done for the purpose of reduction of body weight. All these needs to be things to be taken care. If it is for any health conditions without any other choice, surgery was done, that is okay. Otherwise,
Sir,
if it is for
sir,
yes,
it is for cancer. He had a stomach cancer, so the part of the major stomach was removed.
once there is a stomach is totally removed, or partial or major portion of stomach is removed, as earlier explained, the intrinsic factor and all those things will have a problem. And moreover, too much of medication will also be given to these patients, and thereby absorption of many nutrients, not only iron, is difficult for them. So that's the reason they'll have a lot of other issues also. So in these patients, in order to improve their gut absorption capacity, what Ayurveda can offer here is, it is dry grapes, munakka. Very typically, munakka are the dry grapes and amla powder. Along with that, you get the dadima swarasa, or like pomegranate juice, you can take it as. So these things will definitely help in indirect way to increase the condition. Lohasava can be used, but it is being a tikshna, it should be taken care that how much and what dosage it should be given, and you need to understand that. Dry grapes, just something like that, 10 to 15 grapes to water by night, and then let the entire night it will soak in water. Then the morning and the first after brushing the teeth, you can go for consumption of these things, the dry grapes which is soaked. So that will be best way of doing it.
And also, I came across a research paper which says prevalence, severity, and evolution of post-surgical anemia after gastrectomy. Post-surgical anemia is one of the commonest unpleasant post-operative sequels during early post-operative period after gastrectomy. And there is some evidence, so these remedies could be useful.
Sir, he is not able to eat because of the stomach size. So he has to eat several times, and a very small portion he has to eat. And in spite of that, he has put on weight. He has to control his weight. So even he is not at the liberty to increase the stomach size because they have put the mesh, and mesh cannot be expanded, or maybe there are some other reasons that I'm not aware. So what should be his diet in that case? Because he should not be putting weight at the same time all the nutrition's gone in the body.
Now that's the reason I suggested dry grapes, which is also a very nutritious one. Then pomegranate juice I suggested, which also enhances the blood rata as a tissue, and that will be good. But we need to understand the body weight is increasing, whether it is the bulk body weight is increasing or it is a water retention in the body. If it is anemia, then there is a water retention. When this iron gets replaced, then automatically the body weight will reduce. So need to be checked on that part of it.
What is the differences between Anurasa and Vipaka?
Anurasa is the one when we taste any drug, the taste will be understood at the end of the things, not readily. See, whenever we consume some medicine, some drug, as soon as it comes in contact with the tongue, the taste is perceived. And when we perceive the taste, as soon as it comes in contact, then it is called as rasa, and which is very prominent. Whereas Anurasa is one which is observed or perceived at the later stage, or maybe in a light manner. For example, whenever we consume amla, fresh amla, the first thing we come to know is that it is soreness or the sore taste. So it is amla pradhana rasa. But once you go on chewing the amla in your mouth, and at the end, if you just swallow the air, you will feel madhur rasa. So that madhur rasa present in amla is anurasa. It is not the pradhana rasa. Vipaka means once the process of digestion has completed, and what is the remnant state of this product, whether it is having amla rasa, whether it is having madhur rasa, or whether it is having katu rasa, that is called vipaka. So vipaka and rasa may be same. Vipaka and anurasa may be same, may be different, but Anurasa itself is Vipaka. No, that is not the truth. Anurasa is the one which is perceived at the later stage, or sometimes it remains avyakta or partially vyakta. It is partially perceived or exhibited. Such type of things are called as anurasas. The one which is perceived in the beginning is considered the one which is perceived fully. That is called as rasa or pradhana rasa. Vipaka is the post-digestive effect or the status of the food or the material or the drug whatever you consume. That we talk about vipaka. And vipaka is after the Agni Sanikarsha, and it is a later effect. But whereas rasa is very readily observed and understood, and it is without Agni Sanikarsha.
Thank you, sir. And then there is this question. I just want to clarify, does Vipaka always overrule Rasa and Veerya?
See, very clearly it is said, Kinchid rasena kurute karmam, kinchid viryena chaparam, dravya gunena pakena prabhavena ta kinchid. Very clear statement it is. Certain action of the drug is by the dravya, certain action of the dravya is by the rasa, certain action of the dravya is by virya, and certain action of the dravya is by its guna, and some by Prabhava, and some by Vipaka, something like that. So each and every component of the drug has its own role in the exhibition of total functioning capacity or potential of a drug. It doesn't mean that it is going to hamper everything. Whenever a issue arises, for example, in case of Pippali, it comes to its effect on Shukra Dhatu. Then the role of Vipaka comes in. Otherwise, Pippali is Katurasa, Ushnaguna, and it is Ruksha to some extent. So it is not at all going to support the Shukra Dhatu. But just because of its Madhura Vipaka, it acts as Shukrala. So very typically, it has come into role. But this Madhura Vipaka present in Pippali, its exhibition or its potentiality or its supremacy is shown only when it comes to the question of its effect on Shukradhatu. Whereas the same Pippali, its effect on Agni, this Madhura Vipaka won't hamper it. Its effect on Pranava Shrutis, where it is reducing Kapha, that Madhura Vipaka won't go and disturb the conditions there. It is very clear that each and every component of the drug has its own role to play to show the total activity of the drug. It doesn't mean that it entirely something will scrap off the other things and do their functions. No, it is not like that.
This last two lines, like Rasam Vipakasto Viryam Prabhavasthanopahati Balasami Rasadinam Iti Naisargikam Balam. Charaka. It says that when all factors are equal, Rasa is beaten by Vipaka and Vipaka is
Then Rasa Vipaka both are overruled by Veerya, and Rasa Vipaka Veerya, all the three will be overruled by Prabhava. That is when they are all of equal strength. When they are of unequal strength, automatically whoever is dominant, that will show its action.
So that
similarly, when these things are, even though these type of differentiation and superiority inferiority complexes present inside the same drug, it doesn't hamper the other functions of the drug. The other functions which is carried out by Rasa, other functions which is carried out by Veerya, other functions carried out by Vipaka will not be hampered by the Prabhava of the Dravya.
So each component will be having their own specific actions also.
Yes.
And last question of the day. I see many questions coming, but this is the last, then we'll take up in the next class because it's related to Vipaka again. But can stomach ulcer patients consume ginger or long pepper, Pippali, as their Madhura Vipaka to get relief from sinus allergies or cold or cough symptoms? Your experience on this?
Definitely ginger, that is a dry ginger, shunthi, as well as a Pippali. Both can be consumed by the patient who is having stomach ulcer. The reason is both ginger as well as Pippali, both are very typically Madhurasa Pradhana Dravyas, and even Pippali has been explained to give relief in Amla Pitta, as per one of the Shastra present, or even the what you call Chakradatta reference is also there on that. Pippali is indicated in Amla Pitta.
That sums up today's session. Thank you. See you all in the next session of Gurubodha. Namaste.